Welcome to Byte and Beyond with Uday. In this video, we will cover ddl-auto validate. So let's begin. Sorry. So ddl-auto validate. So this is the new property, which is validate. So what does validate mean? So validate. What is validate? Let's see. When the app starts, Hibernate matches entity classes with the tables in the database. Okay, so what does that mean? So when you start your application, Hibernate basically matches your entity classes or compares your entity classes with the tables which are available in database. Okay, so let me give you the example. The definition might not be that clear to understand everything. So now we have validate. Okay, and what we want to do is, and we haven't made any changes in our employee, it is as it is. Okay, so whenever we start our application, what does Hibernate do? When the ddl auto is validate, it neither create nor drop or nor delete, neither create nor update or delete. So meaning, it do not create anything, it do not update or delete anything. It do nothing. It just validate. Validate meaning it just verify that your employee entity and your table, let me execute the start button. Your table, employee table is same. Same meaning it has same column employee ID, email, first name, last name, salary. Whatever we have, mentioned over here, employee ID, first name, last name, email, salary. The same should be available over here in our table. Now let's say I have as similar to earlier, I have added new property over here, which is, let's say, middle name. Okay, middle name, same property, middle name, or any kind of property. In this case, we are using middle name. Let me create getter and setter. Okay, our middle name is created. Now, what will happen? As I explained, that validate meaning, this validate property meaning, when we start our application, Hibernate match this property, this entity, employee entity, with our table. That it has same amount of column. Okay, same amount of column, meaning employee ID, email, first name, last name, salary. And if we try to introduce a new column in our new property in our entity, it will throw an exception. Our application won't start. So let me restart my application and let's see what happens. Because this time it will throw an exception. Why? Because we have added new property over here, middle name. See, our application didn't start and we are getting exception. What we are getting? Schema validation missing column middle name in table employee. So what it is saying, that schema validation error type is schema validation. And why? What is the schema validation? Missing column, middle name column in table employee is missing, meaning there is no middle name column in employee table. That is true. Even if I refresh, execute this button, I don't see any middle name column. That is why we are getting that exception. Okay, so let's go to the definition. When the app starts, Hibernate matches entity classes with the tables in the database. Okay. So whenever we start our application, Hibernate match our entity with the tables available in our database. So now we have changed our entity. I mean, we have introduced a middle name column. So that middle name column was not available in our database or in our table. So that is why our application failed to start. Okay, so this is that clarifies this second line. If something is missing or wrong, in our case, middle name column was missing in the database table. So that is why it was throwing an exception. And as per my explanation, it does not create or update tables. Neither it creates nor it deletes or nor it update. It just validate. So you need to remember that whenever our property is validate, it do not create any table, neither it update the table or column. It just do the validation. It just matches that entity is get matched with the table. Okay. Now let me do one more thing. Let me remove what I can say. Let me remove this property. I mean middle name property from here. Let me remove this. Now it is removed. Now I should be able to start my application completely fine because now my entity get match with the table. So this time I should not face any issue. See, my application is up and running and I haven't faced any issue. Let me execute the select statement and I can see my table, and if I try to save any object, I can able to do that as well. You can see 201 object created, and if I execute select statement once again, I should be able to see my employee table, and inside this employee table I can see this record. Okay, so validate basically do the validation. And let's say if we are not creating any new property or new column in our entity, what happens if I change uh, if I try to alter my column? I mean, let's say if I try to use the column length as first name column this time, let's say 150. Let's see what happens this time. So let me stop my application and let me see what it does, because if I see my employee table over here and if I refresh, I can see the first name length is 100 only, and I'm trying to set the first name length to 150. Let's see what it does. See, my application is started completely fine, but now he didn't, I mean, Spring Boot or Hibernate didn't throw any exception. Okay. But now let me go to the MySQL workbench and let me refresh this. See, it is not updating anything. It has just validated that first name column is available or not. But it has didn't match the type. I mean the what is the length of the varchar? In our case, we were trying to do the 100, but it didn't throw us an exception, and our application was started completely fine. So meaning when you are making changes in this property such as increasing length or decreasing length or updating some other properties. Okay, maybe let's see what if it does if I say unique is equal to false for the email. If I say unique is equal to false, let me restart and let's see. We have validate property here, and let's see what it does. We have changed the uniqueness of email to false. Earlier, it was I was saying that email should be unique in our table. Now I'm saying email can be duplicate. But still, you can see whatever changes we are making in our in this property, then it is throwing an exception. Okay, so let me refresh. Okay, you can see the email is uh, I mean where I can see unique. One second. Let me go to the settings of this table. Let's wait. I have already clicked once, so let's wait for a moment. Okay, so you can see my email column. Okay, and you can see this is unique. Unique is checked. Unique is checked. I mean, even if we have restarted our application, okay, over here I have set uniqueness as false, but those changes are not reflecting in our database, but at the same time, validate do not throw the exception. Okay, it is throwing an exception if and only there are major changes. Okay, so let me click on the indexes. We have two indexes. Email, this is for the email, and yeah, so now you have understood the point of validate. It basically do not throw an exception if you are making changes uh, in your column fields such as increasing or decreasing length or changing the uniqueness. Okay, it do not throw the exception, but at the same time it do not update the database as well. It kept all the things as it is. Now let's say what happens if I change something in my properties. Let's say I have introduced instead of salary, I am changing the property name. Let me do the salaries. Okay, salaries. So what I have done over here is I have changed the property name. Property name meaning this will be the column in our table. So I have changed the basically column name in our entity case. I have changed the name of our property. Earlier it was salary. Now I have changed it to salaries. Okay. This is wrong though, but just for the example, I have changed it from salary to salaries. So now let me restart my application once again. Now let's see what happens. Will our application fail to start or it will be start successfully? Let's see. You can guess. See, if we are doing some major changes, I mean, if we are changing the column name or adding a new column, okay, in that case, it is throwing an exception. Missing column salaries in table employee. So what Hibernate is thinking that we are trying to add new column which is salaries in our table employee table, and it basically, throwing an exception that, hey, we don't have salaries column in our table, and and this is not right. That is why it is throwing an exception. So let me quickly, revert these changes. Let me revert these changes. Yes, I have reverted. Yep. Now again, let me start my application once again. Please start. Now it should start completely fine. I should not get any exception this time, but let's see. See, it is started completely fine. We haven't received any exception. And if I refresh this table or execute this select statement, I should be able to see this table and record. I can see this table and record is completely there. We have both of these tables over here. So yeah, now we have corrected our employee. Now let's see one more thing. What happens if I remove this column? Guess what will happen? At the same time, I need to also remove my getter and setter for this property. So I have removed the salary property from our entity. And why it is doing, yeah, let me comment this out for a moment. Okay, yeah, now compilation error is gone. So let me restart my application once again and let's see what happened. You can guess. Let's see what happened. So I have removed one property, salary, and I have restarted my application, and I'm hoping, or I'm thinking it is what is going to happen. Let's see. See, we aren't getting any exception. Meaning meaning if we even if we have additional column in our table, that is fine. That is fine. It basically what validate do in simple language. What validate do? It do not what I can say. It do not match table with entity, but it matches entity with table. So there is a difference between these two lines. Let me explain. When I say it do not match, the validate do not match table with entity, meaning no match, meaning let me don't match, okay, don't match table with entity. So what does this mean? Do not when we use validate, that Hibernate do not match table with entity, meaning Hibernate don't care how many columns we have in our table, whether we have 100, whether we have 10. It do not care. What it cares, that whatever is mentioned in our entity, meaning employee ID, first name, last name, email. These four properties is mentioned in our entity. So Hibernate basically validates that these four columns should available in the table. Okay. So it do not match table with entity. It basically match each Hibernate basically matches entity with table. Entity with the table. Meaning Hibernate will complain if we have introduced one more column over here and that is not present. For example, we have introduced a middle name column, okay, and it was not present in our table. So Hibernate has quickly raised his concern that, hey, middle name column is not available in the table. How can you going to run your application? So at that time, Hibernate has stopped the execution of our application. Our application didn't even start. Okay. So basically, Hibernate matches employee, I mean, matches entity with the table, meaning whatever we have mentioned over here, that must be present in the table. Okay. Whatever we are mentioning in the entity, that must be present in the table. But it is okay if something extra is available in the table. Okay, something extra is available in the table and that is not present in our entity. Okay, so let me give you that example as well. So what I can do, let me revert my changes. Okay, let me add the salary column once again and let me do something different for you so you can understand. Even if I restart this time, I won't see or I won't get any issue. See, see, our application is uh, started successfully. We haven't faced any issue. I'm sorry. And if I execute this select statement, I can see this. What I can say, all the records in this table as it is. Okay. But yeah, yeah. One more thing I mentioned to forget. So if you guys basically remove the salary column, okay. No, no, no. If you remove this salary column, okay, and if you try to get your data, then think what will happen because we don't have salary column and we are trying to and in our table we have a salary column. Okay, so what will happen that time? Let's see. Our application is successfully started. Okay, and let me go to my postman and use the get all employees. Okay, that is also fine. It will return all the employees from our database. And let me hit the send button. What will happen? Let's see. Hmm. See, we were able to get the all the records from our table except the salary. We can see all the properties over here, uh, but we don't have any salary because we don't have salary properties available in our entity. Okay, so this is the a point you also need to note. So even if there are um, extra columns available in the database, you won't face any issue. So that is why Hibernate is not giving any exception when there is extra column is available in your database. Okay, so that is why it is not giving you any exception. Even though there is a salary column is now extra, I mean, the salary column is not available in our entity, but still we are not getting any exception. So that is why Hibernate do not care. If something extra is available in table, that is fine. But if something extra is available in your entity and that is not available in your database, then it will be going to a problem for you. Okay? Then you will get the exception. So let me demonstrate that part that I mean what I can say. Yeah, that part is already demonstrated that that we have introduced that middle name column and it wasn't available in the table at that time. We got the exception, but now when we have removed salary and it is still available in the database, but in that case we are not getting any exception. So that is why Hibernate do not care If there is something extra in your table, do not care. If it is something extra in your entity and it is not available in the table, then it will throw an exception. So let me revert back whatever I have done so far. Let me introduce the salary column once again. Okay, and you guys are might thinking, let's say so far we have made changes in our entity. What happen if someone has added new column in the database itself? So let me do that as well. Even in that case, Hibernate won't throw any exception. But yeah, let me give you the example. Yes. So you can see over here. This is the alter statement for our employee table. And let me stop my application for now. Okay. And let me add a new column. But for now, see, for now you can see I don't have that phone number column in my table, but I'm adding new column in this table. So let me execute. So as I mentioned, if you want to execute specific statement in your MySQL workbench, just highlight that statement and hit the execute button. See, I'm getting an exception that database select the default DB to use the double click. Its name is schema list in the sidebar. Okay, it is telling us basically to select the database. So you can see I have multiple database available over here. So when you highlight this statement and execute, uh, SQL doesn't know that for which database I should execute this statement. So for that I need to select select a default database. So this is my default database I have selected. Now you can see other in normal text, and employee demo tab database is now in bold text. So this is my default database, and now if I execute this statement, I should be able to execute. See, I'm able to execute. Now my employee table has been altered and new column is introduced now, phone number. And if I execute the select statement for my employee table, I should see the new column over here. See, I can see the new column, phone number. Let me add a new data over here. For example, let's say my phone number is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just a dummy number, guys. Okay, let me commit or something. Let me apply these changes. I think we need to apply. Yes. So then it will fire the update statement for us. It is basically similar to executing the update statement. So I'm doing it using the GUI itself. So that is also fine. Executing the statement. See, now if I select, no matter how many times I select, we have inserted or we have updated this phone number column with this value. This is my phone number. Sorry, this is John's phone number. Yeah. And let's do one thing. Let's start our application. So, as per our experience, if something additional in the table, that is fine. Hibernate won't complain. Okay. So let me restart. So if I start application, what will Hibernate do? Hibernate first check, do we have employee table? So yes, in SQL we have employee table. That is true. Then it will check, do we have employee ID column? Yes. Then first name, last name, email, salary. If all the columns are available, Hibernate is happy. Hibernate is not going to throw an exception. Even though we have additional column in our table, that is fine. Hibernate doesn't care. Hibernate just makes sure that whatever mention is over here is available in your table. Okay, so let me start my application. See, our application started successfully. We haven't faced any issue. And if I try to get the employees, I am able to see the employees, employee ID, first name, last name, email, and salary. Now we can see salary as well because we have added back our salary column or our salary property in our entity. So we can see the salary as well. And even though we have additional column in our database phone number, Hibernate doesn't care. Hibernate cares when we have a new column in our entity and it is not present in the table. So just quickly explain you. Let me demonstrate this once again for the last time. So we can conclude with this validate property. See, so Hibernate, what Hibernate cares? Middle name is mentioned over here, but it is missing in the table. So this is the concern for the Hibernate. Okay, so now if I restart my application, Hibernate will complain that this is the same example we have seen during the beginning of this validate property explanation, but I'm explaining you one more time so you can get the better understanding. See, uh, our application unable to start. Hibernate is complaining now that schema validation, exception is schema validation, missing column, middle name in table. Okay, so now it is clear that Hibernate, you know, just make sure that whatever we have mentioned in our entity that must be available in the table. Hibernate doesn't care how many columns are available in the database. It is not Hibernate jobs. Hibernate only make sure that whatever mentioned over here that must be present in the table. Okay. So if I restart this application once again, I should be able to start this application completely fine. I should not face any exception. See, our application is successfully started. And even if I go to the database and hit the select statement, okay, I can see the records. So I think you have understood this validate property use in our Spring Boot application. Okay, you can see this is the validate property set, which we have set it over here in our ddl-auto field. And if we see the explanation, now you should be able to, understand this whole concept of validate. So now let's read this. When the app start, Hibernate matches entity classes with the tables in the database. Correct? It is correct. Hibernate basically matches entity classes with the tables. Whatever mentioned in the entity, it must be present in the tables. Okay? Now that is true. If something is missing or wrong, it will throw an error. Missing meaning, let's say, missing meaning, I mean, we had declared the middle name. We have just declared the middle name property in our entity, and it was missing in the table. So we got the exception. What is wrong? We have changed the salary column type to salaries in our entity. At that time, we also get the exception. So Now this statement is also clear, and this statement is also clear. This point number three, it validate does not create or update tables. That is true. It do not make any changes that we have verified by changing the property name in our entity. We have changed the length, unique, true, false. We did those stuff, but it were not reflected in our database. So validate do not create or update the tables. So this point is also clear. Now, when we should use this validate. So we should use this validate in production. What is production? Meaning when we are application is live, when we are application is ready to use for the user. For example, Facebook. Now Facebook is live, meaning this Facebook application is in production. This is live for the user, meaning I and you guys are can use the Facebook application. So at that time, when I'm ready to make my application live, in that case, if there is any mismatch between, not between, if there is any miss between our entity and database, then Hibernate will throw an exception. Meaning, if something is available in our entity and that is not available in the database, it will throw an exception. Okay. Here is the example which we have seen. Entity has a field middle name. We just did that, but the DB table does not. F will fail on startup. That is correct. We already have seen that. Okay. So over here we have concluded validate property as well. So that is it for ddl-auto validate. We have covered this topic in depth and with example. If you found this video helpful, then don't forget to like, share, subscribe. And if you have any queries or doubt, please drop a comment. I will be happy to help you. See you in the next video. Bye.